I bought the Silverado on a Tuesday. Seemed like a gift from heaven. My nephew Tyler selling it to me for half what it was worth. Said he wanted to help his old uncle out. I should have known better. 67 years on this earth, and I still want to believe family means something. The GPS turned itself on 3 miles from home. Snow was just starting to fall, first of the season, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. Then a dead man's voice came through the speakers. If you're hearing this, I'm already dead. Static. My hands tightened on the wheel. The truck, it's rigged. Insurance fraud. Don't trust E. More static, then silence. I sat in my driveway a long time after that, engine ticking as it cooled, watching snow cover the windshield. Carol's rosary hung from the mirror, swaying slightly. That's when I knew Tyler hadn't given me a gift. He'd given me a grave. The next morning, I went to the diner like I always did. Tuesdays meant apple pie and black coffee at Dottie's place on Main Street. Been doing it for years, since before Carol got sick, and I kept doing it after she passed. Routines help when you're alone. The bell over the door rang when I walked in. Smell of bacon grease and burnt coffee hit me. Good smells, familiar ones. I took my usual booth by the window. That's when I noticed the whispers. 2 men at the counter, Earl Patterson and his brother-in-law, name I never learned. They glanced at me, then went back to their coffee, but their voices dropped low, the way people talk when they don't want to be heard. "Porter's truck," one of them said. I strained to listen. "Another insurance play, you think?" "Hell, I don't know, but that's what, 9 now?" They paid and left before I could piece it together. My coffee arrived, and I tried to shake it off. Small towns, everyone gossips, doesn't mean anything. Then Tyler's girlfriend walked in. Chris was her name. Young thing, maybe 28, always wore too much makeup and smiled too wide. She saw me, and her face did something strange, laughed, then caught herself, like she'd remembered a joke she wasn't supposed to tell. I waved her over. "Morning, Chris." "Oh, hi, Mr. Porter." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Something funny?" "What?" "No, I just—" She looked toward the door. "I gotta go." "Tyler treating you all right?" "Yeah, fine. He's great." But her hands were shaking when she picked up her to-go order. She practically ran out. I sat there with my pie going cold, trying to understand what I'd just seen. At the gas station an hour later, it happened again. I was filling up the Silverado, still getting used to how it handled, the way the steering pulled slightly left, when 2 older men at the next pump stopped talking mid-sentence. One of them stared at my truck like he'd seen a ghost. "Another Porter," he muttered to his friend. I shut off the pump. "Excuse me?" They looked at me, then at each other. "Nothing, friend. Just talking." "You said something about Porter." "Must have misheard." They got in their truck and drove off. I stood there in the cold, wind picking up, snow clouds gathering overhead. Something was wrong. I didn't know what yet, but I'd learned in Korea to trust my gut when it prickled. That evening, I drove to Tyler's apartment. He lived in one of those new complexes on the edge of town. Cheap construction, trying to look expensive. I found his unit and knocked. He opened the door with that same smile he'd had since he was a kid. "Uncle Frank, what's up?" "Need to talk to you." "Sure, come in. Out here's fine." Snow was starting to fall. "What's the joke about my truck?" His smile didn't waver. "What joke?" "Chris laughed when she saw me today. Some men at the gas station said something. What's going on?" Tyler stepped out, closed the door behind him, put his hand on my shoulder, warm, friendly. "Uncle Frank, you doing okay?" "I'm fine. It's just, you seem stressed. Maybe you should talk to Doc Miller." I stepped back from his hand. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Make me feel crazy. I know what I heard." "Small towns, you know how it is. Everyone gossips about everything." He looked at me with those big eyes, concerned. "How you been sleeping, since Aunt Carol—" "Don't bring her into this." "I'm worried about you. Living out there alone, maybe you're hearing things that aren't—" "I'm not hearing things." "Okay, okay." He held up his hands, surrender pose. "I just want to help. That's why I sold you the truck, remember? Family helps family." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But something in his voice was off, like a guitar string tuned just slightly wrong. "What did that girl mean?" I asked again. "What's funny about my truck?" "Nothing. She's weird sometimes. Don't worry about it." We stood there in the falling snow, and I realized he wasn't going to tell me. Whatever was happening, Tyler was part of it. I drove home through the dark, doubt creeping in like the cold. Maybe I was losing it. 3 years since Carol died, and grief does things to your mind. Everyone says so. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the cab, replaying the GPS message in my head. Had I really heard it, or was my brain making patterns out of static? The porch light was on. I always left it on, made the house look less empty. Then I saw her, a woman standing by my mailbox, barely visible in the snow. She was putting something under my windshield wiper. When she saw me looking, she hurried to her car and drove away fast. I got out, pulled the note from under the wiper, handwriting shaky. They're watching, David knew. No signature. I stood there in the snow, note trembling in my hand, and my phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Stop asking questions. You're already in it. At the end of my driveway, headlights flicked on. A truck idled there, engine running. I couldn't see the driver through the falling snow. We stared at each other for maybe 30 seconds. Then it drove away, slow and deliberate. I went inside and locked every door. The mail came at 10 the next morning. I was making coffee. 2 cups out of habit, then remembering and pouring one down the sink. The sound of it going down the drain was too loud in the quiet house. Bills, church newsletter, then a large manila envelope, official looking. I opened it at the kitchen table. Insurance documents, my name at the top. Franklin James Porter, policyholder for something called accidental damage liability coverage. $300,000, my signature at the bottom. Except it wasn't my signature. Close. But the loop on the F went the wrong way. I've signed my name 10,000 times in 67 years. I know how it looks. My hands started shaking. I flipped through the pages. More policies, more amounts. And there, in the fine print, beneficiary Tyler Reed. My coffee cup slipped, shattered on the floor. I didn't clean it up, just sat there staring at papers that said I owed money for accidents I'd never had, in a truck I'd owned for 3 days. I needed to think, needed to understand, so I did what I always do when my head gets tangled. I went to see Hank. Morrison's garage sat at the edge of town. Been there 40 years. Hank and I grew up together, went to Korea together, came home together. If I could trust anyone, it was him. The garage smelled like motor oil and burnt coffee and cold metal. Hank was under the hood of an old Dodge, grease up to his elbows. "Frank," he wiped his hands on a rag. "What brings you by?" "Need you to check something on the truck. Got a funny feeling." His face changed. Just for a second, something flickered there. Funny feeling. That's what we called premonitions in the war. Yeah. He grabbed his creeper and rolled under the Silverado. I stood there listening to him work. Metal on metal, his breathing, the space heater struggling against January cold. Long silence. Then, "Frank, come look at this." I got down on my knees, peered under. He pointed to the brake lines. "See that? Lines are scored. Done precise so they'll fail under pressure. Hard braking, steep grade." My stomach went cold. Someone sabotaged it? More than that. He rolled out, went to the front. "VIN plate's been tampered with. See these scratches? Someone removed it, put it back, and the secondary VIN on the frame." He checked his phone, compared numbers. "Doesn't match." "What's that mean?" "Means this truck's been through a chop shop." He looked at me hard. "Where'd you get it?" "Tyler." Something crossed his face. Recognition, then something else. Sadness, maybe, or fear. "Hank?" "My boy Danny's been working odd jobs lately. Hard to keep track of that boy." I glanced at the wall. Photo of Danny as a kid, gap-toothed, holding a wrench. Good kid once. Got quiet around 16, stopped coming to the garage. "Danny okay?" You know how kids are these days, always some new thing. But Hank wouldn't meet my eyes. We stood there in the cold garage, and I realized Hank knew something, or suspected, and it was eating him up. "I'll document this," he said finally. "Take photos. You might need them." "For what?" "I don't know yet. But Frank," he put his hand on my shoulder, "be careful. Something's not right here." I drove home as freezing rain started to fall, roads turning to ice. Radio played Johnny Cash, "Ring of Fire." I almost laughed at the bitter joke of it. Someone had tried to kill me. The brake lines would have failed on County Road 9, the steep curves, and I'd have gone through the guardrail just like who? I pulled over, grabbed my phone, Googled, David Henley death, obituary loaded, my chest tightened. David Michael Henley, 64, died in a single-vehicle accident on County Road 9, survived by his wife Martha, services at First Methodist Church. Date of death, 3 weeks ago. I scrolled down. There, buried in the text, David had recently purchased a vehicle from Reed Auto Consulting. Reed, Tyler's business. My nephew wasn't just betraying me, he'd done this before, and someone had died. When I got home, there was a car in my driveway. Tyler's girlfriend, Chris, engine running like she was ready to bolt. I pulled up next to her. She rolled down her window, eyes red. "Mr. Porter, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed yesterday. It's not funny." "What's not funny?" "Tyler's in trouble. Bad trouble. People he owes money to. I don't know everything, but—" Her phone rang. She looked at the screen, and her face went white. "That's him. I'm sorry. I can't help you. I'm sorry." She threw the car in reverse and peeled out, tires spinning on ice. I stood in my driveway, watching her taillights disappear into the freezing rain. Then I went inside. The door was unlocked. I always lock it. Inside, drawers open, papers scattered on the floor, Carol's jewelry box open on the bedroom dresser, nothing taken. They weren't robbing me, they were looking for something. On the kitchen table, my GPS device, the one from the truck. Someone had removed it, brought it inside, left it there, with a note. "You don't understand what you're interfering with. Walk away." I picked up the device. It was heavier than it should be. I turned it over and something rattled inside. David Henley must have hidden something in here. Something worth killing for. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Mr. Porter." A man's voice, smooth and cold. "My name is Voss. We haven't met, but we're going to. Soon. And when we do, you're going to wish you'd walked away." The line went dead. I stood in my ransacked house holding a dead man's GPS and realized I wasn't just in danger. I was already a dead man walking. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat at the kitchen table with the GPS device and David Henley's name on a piece of paper. At 3 a.m., I made the decision. I'd go to the sheriff. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how it works. Sheriff Tom Mercer had his office at the county building. I got there when it opened at 8, brought everything, the insurance papers, photos of the brake lines Hank took, the GPS recording played on my phone. Sheriff Mercer listened, took notes, nodded in all the right places. Then he said, "Frank, I appreciate you coming in, but Tyler was here yesterday." The floor dropped out from under me. "He was worried about you. Said you've been acting strange since Carol passed." The sheriff's voice was gentle, like he was talking to a child. "Making accusations, sending him texts late at night." "I didn't send him any texts." He showed me, Frank. Rambling messages, 2, 3 in the morning. My head spun. I didn't. Have you talked to Doc Miller lately? Sometimes grief does things to our minds, makes us see patterns that aren't there. The brake lines were cut. Hank Morrison documented it. Hank said it looked like shoddy dealer work. Happens all the time with used vehicles. That's not what he told me. And the signature? Sheriff Mercer pulled out a photocopy. Insurance company says it could be a clerical error. They're looking into it. I stared at him, at his kind eyes, his patient smile, the way he patted my shoulder like I was senile. "You think I'm crazy. I think you're grieving. I think maybe you should take some time, talk to someone professional, maybe stay with family for a while." I stood up. My legs felt weak. Tyler's been planning this, laying groundwork, making me look frank. The sheriff stood too, gentle but firm. "Go home. Rest. We'll look into the insurance thing, okay? But right now I think you need to take care of yourself." I walked out of that office knowing no one would believe me. Tyler had won before I'd even started fighting. The drive home was the longest of my life. I passed the church, Wednesday morning, few cars in the lot. Almost stopped, but remembered Sunday's stairs, the whispers. Even God's house didn't feel safe anymore. When I pulled into my driveway, there was a woman sitting on my porch. Thin, gaunt, dark circles under her eyes. She stood when she saw me, and her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "Mr. Porter, my name is Martha Henley." The widow. "Mrs. Henley, you shouldn't be here." "They killed my David." Her voice cracked. "They'll kill you too if you don't listen." I looked around. Nobody watching that I could see. "Come inside." We sat at my kitchen table. I made tea, noticed she brought her own tea bag, wouldn't trust anything in a stranger's house, smart woman. She pulled out a leather notebook from her purse. College ruled, half filled with entries that didn't make sense. David was an accountant. Numbers were his language. She opened to a page. "Look, RM 2847 1103 285K V RM 3104 1117 340K V RM 3856 12 to 10 ME V." What is this? I didn't know at first. Found it in our freezer, hidden in a bag of frozen peas, after the funeral. She pointed. RM, Reed Motors, Tyler's business. I leaned closer. The numbers are VINs. Dates are sale dates. The amounts, she swallowed hard. Insurance payouts. And V? I don't know, someone who runs it all. We spent the next hour cross-referencing. Each entry matched a death. Gerald Watkins, 71, died June 2023. Robert Chen, 68, died August 2023. On and on. 7 men, all elderly, all bought trucks from Tyler, all died in accidents within weeks. David figured it out 2 days before he died, Martha whispered. He programmed that GPS message, hid his research. He was going to the police that night, but Storm delayed him and gave them time. She looked at me with hollow eyes. They ran him off County Road 9, made it look like he lost control. How many? My voice came out hoarse. She counted the entries. 7 that David documented. You would have been 8th. We sat in silence, the weight of it crushing. Why trust me? I asked. Because you're next. Because David's message was meant for you. Because, her voice broke. I've been so afraid, for months, watching you, trying to decide if you were part of it or another victim. I covered her hand with mine. First human touch in months. We stopped them. David tried. He died. Then we do it better. A car pulled up outside. Martha tensed. That's my Buick, but... We went to the window, her rear tire, slashed, fresh cut, still dripping air. They watched you come here, I said. She started crying. I'm so tired of being afraid. You're staying here tonight. Guest room upstairs? Mr. Porter? Frank. And I'm tired of being afraid too, but maybe we're afraid together now. That's different. That night, I couldn't sleep. Sat in the living room with all the lights off, TV on mute showing the news, winter storm warning, major blizzard coming in 72 hours. At 2 a.m., a truck drove slowly past my house, stopped, idled. I watched through the curtain, couldn't see the driver through the dark. The door opened, something was thrown onto my driveway. The truck drove away. I waited 5 minutes, then went out. Dead raccoon, throat cut, left on my welcome mat like a message. This could be you. I was carrying it to the trash when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Uncle Frank, I need help. They're going to... Sound of struggle. Tyler's voice cut off, phone clattering, then a different voice. Cold, smooth. Mr. Porter, stop interfering or your nephew disappears permanently. The line went dead. I stood in my driveway at 2 a.m., dead animal in my hands, snow starting to fall again, and realized I'd have to choose. Save Tyler or stop the killing. Maybe I couldn't do both. Sunday morning, I shaved for the first time in a week, put on a clean shirt, ironed it myself. Martha watched from the kitchen doorway, worry written all over her face. You sure about this? She asked. I won't be driven out of my own life. They're watching, you know that. Let them watch me go to church. I straightened my collar in the mirror, looked older than I remembered. When had I gotten so old? I've sat in that pew every Sunday for 40 years. I'm not stopping now. Martha stayed at the house, too frightened to be seen in public. I didn't blame her. The drive to First Methodist was the same route Carol and I took together for decades. She used to drive, I'd navigate. Seemed silly now. We knew every turn by heart, but it was our ritual, one of 1,000 small things I missed about her. The parking lot looked the same as always, same cars in their usual spots. My Silverado stood out. Everyone in town knew that truck now. I could feel eyes on it as I parked. Smell hit me when I walked in. Old hymnals and wood polish and coffee brewing in the fellowship hall. Smells of home, of safety, but today they felt wrong. I dipped my fingers in the holy water font by the door, habit, made the sign of the cross and turned toward my pew. That's when the conversation stopped. Mrs. Paulson was talking to Deacon Williams, saw me and went quiet. She'd known me since I was 30 years old, baked us a casserole every week during Carol's cancer. Now she couldn't meet my eyes. Deacon Williams nodded at me, but his expression, pity, like I was something broken. I walked down the aisle, third pew from the back, right side, my spot. Carol used to sit next to me, always kept a tissue in her purse for when the hymns made her cry. Across the aisle, Tyler's family. His stepmother, my late sister's husband, had remarried. She sat there with their kids. Tyler wasn't there, but she looked right at me, shook her head slowly, mouthed something. He's worried about you. The lie of it made my chest tight. Pastor Reynolds took the pulpit. Good man, known him 20 years. He smiled at the congregation. Today's sermon, he said, is about bearing false witness. I felt every eye in that room flicker toward me. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe he'd planned this sermon weeks ago. But sitting there, listening to him talk about the 9th commandment, about how lies destroy communities, about how confusion and age can make us see enemies where there are none, I knew. Everyone thought I was the liar. We stood for the first hymn, Amazing Grace. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out, throat too tight. Dottie from the diner stood 2 rows up. She glanced back at me, then quickly looked away. The woman next to me, Susan something, worked at the bank, shifted in her pew, put extra space between us, like whatever I had might be catching. Communion came. I stood in line with everyone else, watched people take the wafer, the wine, watched them kneel, pray, return to their seats. When I reached the front, Pastor Reynolds held out the wafer, body of Christ. I took it. His hand trembled slightly when it touched mine. I didn't take the wine, just turned around, walked back to my pew. Every face I passed, people I'd known for decades, looked at me with that same expression, pity mixed with discomfort, the look you give someone who's losing their mind. The final hymn started. How Great Thou Art, Carol's favorite. She'd hum it while doing dishes, while folding laundry, while dying in that hospital bed. Every verse she knew by heart. I stood there listening to the congregation sing, and something inside me broke. I walked out. Middle of the 3rd verse, I just walked out. Pushed through the heavy doors into cold sunlight, snow on the ground, bright and blinding. The parking lot was empty except for my truck. I sat in the cab for a long time, didn't start the engine, just sat there, and cried. Not for myself, for the loss of community, for the belonging that was gone, for Carol, who'd always known how to make me feel less alone, for the life I'd had that was now just over. I drove home past the diner, usually stopped for Sunday lunch, Dottie's pot roast special. Today, I kept driving, past the gas station where I got coffee every weekday morning, kept driving, realized there was nowhere in this town that was safe anymore. Martha had soup on the stove when I got home. She took one look at my face and didn't ask. I sat in Carol's chair, the recliner by the window she'd picked out 15 years ago, pulled out her photo album, wedding pictures as young and stupid and grinning, pictures through the years, holidays, Tyler as a baby in my arms, Carol's last birthday before the diagnosis, her handwriting in the margin of our wedding photo, 47 years, best decision I ever made. I talked to the picture like she could hear me. I don't know if I can do this, darling. I'm tired. I'm old. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. My voice cracked. Maybe it's easier to just let it go. Sign whatever they want. Move away. Disappear. I imagined what she'd say. Not words exactly, just that look she'd give me. Disappointed but loving. She'd never tell me what to do. She'd just remind me who I was. But who was I now? Without her, without community, without... Knock on the door. Aggressive. Hard. Tyler pushed past me before I could react. Saw Martha in the kitchen and his face went cold. So you two are working together. Get out of my house. I stood between him and Martha. This is your last chance, Uncle Frank. He pulled papers from his jacket. Sign these. Say you were confused. Walk away. Those papers are forged. I tried to help you. That truck was a gift. His mask was slipping, desperation underneath. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. The people I owe money to? That's not my problem. It is now. He was shaking. You're already in it, whether you like it or not. The insurance, the liability, it's all in your name. Real or fake doesn't matter. You fight this, you'll lose everything in court. You're an old man, alone. Everyone thinks you're losing it anyway. He threw photos on the coffee table, me at the gas station, at the diner, leaving the sheriff's office. They're watching, every move. You or Martha go to the press, to a lawyer, to anyone. You'll do what? Martha stepped forward. Kill us like you killed David? I didn't kill anyone. Tyler's voice broke. I just sell trucks. What happens after isn't... You know exactly what happens after. I kept my voice steady. You're lying to yourself, son. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. You chose greed. You chose betrayal. His face twisted. And what did your choices get you? Alone in this house? Broke? Forgotten? I'm trying to survive. At what cost? Your soul? My life? You have 48 hours. He was cold again, professional. Sign the confession or face the consequences. And Uncle Frank? He leaned close. You won't like the consequences. He slammed the door on his way out. Martha sat down hard. What do we do? I looked at the photos of me scattered on the coffee table, looked at Carol's photo album still open, looked at Martha's frightened face. I don't know. That's what scared me most. I genuinely didn't know. Evening came. I sat in the dark living room, didn't turn on lights. Martha was asleep upstairs in the guest room. TV played on mute. Weather report. Blizzard intensifying. Would hit tomorrow night. I thought about signing. Just signing. Taking whatever loss came and disappearing. Moving to Florida, Arizona, somewhere warm where nobody knew me. No family left except Tyler. And he'd already destroyed that. No close friends. Hank was distant, wrapped up in whatever Danny was into. Community had turned its back. Carol was gone. What was the point? I reached for my phone. Thought about calling Doc Miller, like everyone wanted. Get some pills. Something to make the fear go away. Something to make me stop caring. Instead, I looked at Carol's photo on the mantel. Her eyes in that picture seemed to see right through me. Remembered our wedding vows. For better or worse. Remembered her last words to me, morphine hazy but determined. Frank, promise me you'll keep living, really living, not just existing. I'd promised, realized. Giving up wasn't just losing the house. It was betraying that promise. Betraying her memory. Betraying every value she'd taught me about standing up, about doing right even when it cost everything. Carol fought cancer for 18 months. Never quit. Not once. I couldn't quit now. I stood up, turned on the lights, made coffee. 1 cup this time, not 2. Pulled out David Henley's notebook. If I was going down fighting. Midnight. I was still at the kitchen table when headlights swept through the window. I tensed, reached for my phone, but the vehicle stopped. Hank's truck. I'd know that old Ford anywhere. He got out. Someone else with him. Couldn't see who in the dark. Knock on the door. Quiet. Almost apologetic. I opened it. Hank stood there, face haggard, looking 10 years older than he had 2 days ago. Next to him, Danny Morrison, Tyler's age, maybe younger, crying, hands shaking like he'd been doing it for hours. Frank, Hank's voice was rough. We need to talk. Danny has something to tell you. Behind them, snow had started falling, blizzard arriving early. I looked at Danny's face, saw guilt there, saw terror, saw something else. Resolve, maybe, or just exhaustion. Come in, I said. And everything changed. I made coffee, 4 cups this time. Martha came downstairs in her robe, saw Danny, and stopped on the bottom step. Her face went white. You, her voice shook. You were at the shop. You worked on David's truck. Danny broke down, not crying, collapsing, like something inside him had finally snapped and everything came pouring out. I'm so sorry, he sobbed. I didn't know. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't think. Tell them. Hank's voice was hard. All of it. We sat at the kitchen table. Snow fell outside, wind picking up. Danny couldn't look at any of us. I got hired 18 months ago. Independent garage, they said. Cash under the table. He wiped his face. Job was to alter V-ions, weaken brake lines, install tracking devices. They told me it was for insurance adjustments, legitimate stuff. But you knew better, Martha said. I didn't ask questions. I needed the money. Had a record from before. Couldn't get real work. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Boss was a man named Voss. Always wore suits. Cold, real cold. The name hit me, the voice on the phone. Voss ran everything, Danny continued. He recruited salespeople like Tyler. They'd target elderly men with assets, sell them rigged trucks, track their driving, stage accidents on dangerous roads. He looked at Martha. I recognized your husband's truck when it came through. My mom and you were friends. I told Voss I couldn't do it. But you did. Martha's voice was flat. He said if I didn't, I was done. And done didn't mean fired. Danny looked up at her finally. Your husband died 2 weeks later, and I hated myself. Wanted to quit, but Voss said I knew too much. Said I was in it until he said I was out. How many? I asked. 7 that I worked on, maybe more before I started. The room went silent except for wind rattling the windows. When Frank's truck came through last week, Hank said, Danny recognized it, told me everything that night. Why now? I asked. Why tell me now? Danny pulled out his phone, showed me a text. Voss called tonight. Ordered me to prep another vehicle for tomorrow. Target, the widow. He looked at Martha. I can't do this anymore. I can't kill anyone else. Hank put his hand on his son's shoulder. So we turn him in, and we stop this. I looked at Hank, really looked at him, saw what this was costing, turning in his own son. Where's Voss now? He has an office downtown, runs a consulting firm, front for the operation. Danny wiped his nose. Tyler's not the only one. Voss has people in 3 states. And Tyler? He owes Voss money, gambling debts. That's why he's doing this. Voss owns him. That phone call, Tyler scared, saying they're going to... Before someone took the phone, Voss keeping him in line. We need evidence, Martha said suddenly. She grabbed David's GPS device from where I'd left it on the counter. David said this had everything. Danny took it, examined it. I know this model. Storage chip might have encrypted files. He worked on it for 10 minutes while we watched. Snow accumulated outside, 6 inches already, more coming. Finally, he broke through the password. Files loaded. Photos, VN alterations, brake lines being cut, interior of a chop shop, recorded conversations. David had worn a wire during a meeting with Tyler. A spreadsheet, 12 victims, not 7, 5 more than Danny knew about, and video, Voss talking to Tyler, discussing the Porter target. Martha started crying. He got all this the day before he died. He was going to police that night, but the storm delayed him and... They had time to act, I finished. We can't go to police alone, Hank said. Tyler already poisoned that well. We need leverage, I said. Live confession, not just recordings. Danny nodded. I could wear a wire. Record Voss giving me orders for Martha's truck. He's suspicious now, Martha said. He might not talk. Then we get Tyler, I said. The words came out hard. Tyler's scared. He called me for help. Maybe we can use him, Hank finished. We planned it out. Danny would wear a wire, meet Voss at his office. I'd meet Tyler somewhere public, get him to confess, coordinate timing so neither could warn the other. If this goes wrong, I started. It won't, Martha said, but her voice shook. Voss could kill Tyler to silence him, could kill Danny, could kill me. Then we don't go alone. Hank stood. I know someone, PI, ex-cop, owes me a favor. It was 3 a.m. when we finally tried to sleep. None of us did. I sat in Carol's chair, watching dawn come. Snow falling steady now. Blizzard building. My phone buzzed. Email. From sarah.chen@legalaid.org. Subject, remember the snowstorm? Mr. Porter, I got your message. I remember that night 8 years ago. You stayed with my car for 2 hours, in freezing cold. Missed your own appointment to make sure I got to my exam. I've never forgotten. If you need help, I'm on my way. Don't do anything until I arrive. Please. Sarah. I'd sent her an email hours ago, not expecting a response. Young lawyer, probably didn't even remember an old man helping with a car, but she did remember. Hope flickered in my chest. First time in days. Then my phone buzzed again. Text from Tyler. Uncle Frank. Meet me. Alone. Old grain elevator off County Road 9. Noon today. Come alone, or I can't help you. County Road 9, where David died. 7 hours from now. The blizzard would be full force by then. Sarah Chin arrived at 8 in the morning, drove through pre-storm conditions for 3 hours. She was younger than I expected. 31 maybe, professional, carrying a heavy briefcase and laptop. Asian woman, small, but her eyes were steel. She looked at all of us gathered in my living room. Elderly man, terrified widow, mechanic, and his son, who couldn't stop shaking. You jump-started my car, she said to me. Waited until help came. Missed your doctor's appointment. Carol was sick. Appointments could be rescheduled. You had finals. I passed because of you. She set her briefcase down. Never forgot. Now let me help. We showed her everything. David's recordings, photos, Danny's testimony, the forged insurance papers. She reviewed it all, typing notes on her laptop, asking questions. Finally, you have enough to start an investigation, but not enough to guarantee conviction. What do we need? Martha asked. Direct confession, Tyler or Voss, on tape, tying them to specific deaths. FBI? Hank suggested. I contacted them, Financial Crimes Division, but earliest they can move is Monday. Sarah looked at Martha. How soon is your truck being rigged? Today. Danny was supposed to prep it. Then we moved today. She laid out the strategy. Get confession on tape. Sarah files emergency injunction, protective orders. Evidence goes to FBI and state police simultaneously, media contacts standing by. If any of you are harmed, Sarah said, evidence releases automatically. Dead man's switch, they can't kill all of us without getting caught. A man arrived, Marcus, the PI. 40s, ex-cop, looked like he'd seen everything, brought 2 wire kits. "One for you," he told me, "one for Danny." "3, Sarah said. "I'm wearing one too, meeting a judge to get a warrant." We spent an hour on technical prep. Marcus taped the wire to my chest, cold adhesive making me wince. Microphone hidden in my coat collar, backup battery pack. "If it goes bad," Marcus said, "I call state police immediately. They're on standby." Sarah and I had a moment alone while the others prepared equipment in the garage. "Why'd you help me that night?" she asked. "You didn't know me." "Carol taught me, kindness is never wasted. Comes back in unexpected ways." "I was ready to quit law school," Sarah said quietly. "Too hard, too expensive, too alone. Then you stayed. Stranger in a storm, proved people could still be good." She looked at me. "I wanted to be someone who helped people like you helped me. You already are. Don't die today, Frank. I finally get to repay the debt." Hank and Danny came back in, father and son preparing for battle together. "I failed you," Hank said to Danny. "Should have seen you were in trouble." "I hid it, Dad. Got good at lying. I enabled you. Every time you needed money, got in trouble, I fixed it. Didn't make you face consequences." Hank's voice cracked. "Thought that's what fathers do. Realize now, sometimes protection means letting them fall. I'm going to prison. Probably. But you'll go as a man who chose right when it mattered." Hank gripped his son's shoulder. "I'm proud of you. First time in years I can say that." They held each other and cried. Martha and I sat on the porch, brief lull before the storm intensified. Snow fell soft and steady. "I tried to die," she said. "After David. Pills. Hank found me, called ambulance." I didn't say anything, just listened. Didn't want to live in a world where good men die and bad men win. She looked at the snow. "What stopped you?" "After Carol. She asked me to keep living. Promised her. Can't break a promise to her." David's last words were, "Stop them," Martha's voice caught. Didn't understand. Thought he was delirious from the crash, but he meant stop them. Voss, Tyler, all of it. "We're honoring them," I said. "Carol and David. Fighting when it'd be easier to quit. What if we don't make it?" "Then we don't. But we tried. That matters." She took my hand. We sat there as snow fell around us. 11 o'clock, final preparations, wire taped to my chest, microphone tested, phone recording as backup. Everyone suited up. Sarah in a Kevlar vest under her coat, Danny with his wire hidden in a backpack, Marcus and Hank in the surveillance van. Weather, snow falling heavy, wind gusting 40 miles per hour, visibility dropping fast. "County Road 9 to the grain elevator," Marcus said, checking GPS. 15 miles, 45 minutes in these conditions, minimum. "Danny, you're going to Voss's office downtown. 8 miles, opposite direction." Timing. Frank and Tyler meet at noon, Danny and Voss at 12:15, staggered but overlapping. Everyone checked equipment, green lights across the board. I looked at them, this strange family we'd become. Widow and mechanic, lawyer and PI, broken son trying to do right. "If this goes bad," I started. "It won't," Sarah said. "If it does, thank you. I was alone. You made me not alone." 11:30, time to go. Martha stayed at the house with state police contact on speed dial. Everyone else moved to positions. I drove toward the grain elevator alone. Radio, nothing but static and weather warnings. Carol's rosary swung from the mirror. I passed the spot where David died, small memorial cross, flowers buried in snow. "David," I whispered, "if you're listening, guide me through this." The grain elevator rose ahead. Massive rusted structure, dark against white storm. One vehicle in the lot already. Tyler's car, engine running, lights on. I checked the wire, green light, recording, took a deep breath, stepped out into the blizzard. Wind almost knocked me over when I stepped out of the truck. Visibility maybe 20 feet. Snow coming down sideways now. Tyler emerged from the shadows near the elevator entrance, face bruised, split lip. Looked like someone had worked him over good. "Uncle Frank, thank God." His voice shook. "We have to leave. Now." "What happened to your face?" "Voss, he knows. He knows you're investigating." Behind Tyler, another figure stepped out of the darkness. Tall man, expensive coat over a suit, calm face, almost pleasant. He smiled like we were meeting for coffee. "Mr. Porter." His voice was smooth as oil. "So glad you could join us. Tyler and I were just discussing your situation." He pulled a gun from his coat pocket, casual, like it was a phone. I'm afraid this meeting just became more complicated. My blood went cold. The wire under my coat suddenly felt obvious, like it was screaming its presence. "Voss?" I kept my voice steady. "You know my name. Good. Saves introductions." He gestured with the gun. "Tyler, get his phone." Tyler hesitated. Our eyes met. I saw shame there. Fear. Something else I couldn't name. "Do it," Voss said. Tyler took my phone. Wouldn't look at me. We moved inside the elevator. Dark, freezing, rusted equipment everywhere. Wind howled through broken windows. Our breath made clouds in the cold. "You killed David Henley," I said. Needed to keep him talking. Wire was recording everything. David made poor choices. Voss leaned against a support beam. "Recorded conversations without consent. Very illegal in this state, you know." The irony wasn't lost on me. He was going to police with false accusations. I simply discouraged him. Permanently. "You ran him off the road." I encouraged his vehicle to malfunction at an inopportune location. Tyler's face twisted. "Voss, you said we were just going to scare him, talk to him." "Plans change, Tyler. Your uncle is more resourceful than anticipated." "The widow," Voss continued, looking at me. "Martha Henley. She's been helping you, hasn't she? Has David's notebook." My stomach dropped. "My associate is handling her right now." "You're lying." "Am I? Did you really think I didn't know? Danny Morrison confessing to his father, Hank calling his cousin about lawyers, Sarah Chen driving from the city this morning." He smiled. "The wire you're wearing right now?" The world stopped. "Take off your coat." I didn't move. Voss raised the gun. "Now." My hands shook as I removed my coat, wire visible, taped to my chest. "Remove it." Tyler approached me, whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Ripped the wire off. Adhesive tore skin. I winced. He handed it to Voss. Voss examined the device, still recording. He held it up like he was talking to it. "Marcus, that's the PI monitoring, correct? You're listening. Here's my message. Back off or people die, starting with Frank, then Martha, then anyone else who interferes." He dropped it, crushed it under his heel. 8 miles away, Danny walked into Voss's office downtown, but Voss wasn't there. Instead, a man Danny knew, Ray, ex-military, did Voss's enforcement work. "Danny, boss sent me, said you needed to pick something up." Danny's wire was recording. "What pickup?" "He also said you've been talking to people you shouldn't." Danny ran, crashed through the office, downstairs, into the street. Blizzard hit him like a wall. Ray pursued, gun drawn. Marcus, monitoring from the van, saw Danny's GPS tracker moving fast. "Danny's compromised, moving to intercept." Back at the elevator, Voss studied me. "You're stubborn. Admirable, really, but you should have signed the papers. Disappeared." "I don't disappear. I stand." "On principle?" Voss laughed. "Principles don't stop bullets." "Voss, please." Tyler's voice cracked. "He's my uncle." "Your uncle is costing me money. This operation took years to build." Voss's face hardened. 9 men dead, 26 total if you count previous ventures in other states. My heart hammered. He was confessing everything and didn't care because he thought the wire was destroyed. "I've made millions," Voss continued. "Tax-free, beautiful system." "You're a serial killer," I said. "I'm a businessman. Death is just overhead." Tyler stepped forward. "You said insurance fraud. You said no one would get hurt." "And you believed me?" "Tyler, you're not that naive." Voss turned on him. "You knew those brake lines would fail. You knew where they'd fail. You're a murderer too. Own it." I didn't want anyone to die." Tyler was crying now. "Want doesn't matter. Actions do. You killed 8 men for money." "Tyler," I said quietly, "you can still stop this." "He can't." Voss pulled another gun from his belt, offered it to Tyler. "He's weak. Always has been. Prove me wrong. Shoot him." Silence stretched like wire pulled tight. Tyler took the gun, hands shaking so bad I didn't think he could aim it. "Your uncle or your life," Voss said. "Choose." Tyler raised the gun, pointed it at me. I looked him in the eyes. "Tyler, look at me." He met my gaze. "Your mother would want you to choose right." even if it costs you. My voice stayed calm. I forgive you. Already forgiven. Whatever you do next. The gun wavered, lowered. I can't. Then you're useless. Voss raised his own gun toward Tyler. I moved, old instincts from Korea, pushed Tyler aside. Gunshot exploded in the enclosed space. Pain bloomed in my shoulder, hot, then cold. Tyler tackled Voss. The gun skittered across concrete. Marcus, listening on the backup wire hidden in my boot, screamed into his radio, "Shots fired! Officer needs assistance! County Road 9, grain elevator!" They fought. Voss was younger, trained, brutal, beat Tyler bloody. I crawled toward the gun, left arm useless, blood hot on my shirt. Voss saw me, abandoned Tyler, rushed for the gun. We reached it together, struggled, second gunshot, sirens, faint through the storm but getting louder. I lay on the ground, couldn't tell if I'd been hit again or just the shoulder. Everything hurt. Tyler wasn't moving. Voss stood over me, gun in hand, blood on his face. Tyler had gotten a few good hits in. "This isn't over," he said. But the sirens were close now, 4 units at least. Voss ran, got in his Escalade, tires spinning on snow, fishtailed out of the lot. I tried to rise, collapsed. "Tyler," I whispered. "Help Tyler." Then Marcus was there. Hank. They'd driven up right behind the police. "Frank! Jesus, Frank!" Marcus grabbed his radio. 2 victims down, suspect fled in black Escalade, heading west on County Road 9. Paramedics swarmed. One worked on my shoulder, gunshot graze, they said, another on Tyler. Broken nose, concussion, but breathing. "Tyler?" I croaked. "He's alive," the paramedic said. "Saved your life. Tackled the shooter." They loaded us into ambulances. I kept fading in and out. Snow, lights, Carol's face in my memory. "Evidence," I managed. "Boot. Wire and boot." A state trooper retrieved it. Second wire device intact, recorded everything, Voss's confession, 26 murders, the whole operation. APB went out, armed and dangerous, black Escalade, last seen westbound. Road conditions were impossible. Visibility near zero. Police pursuit fell back. Couldn't keep pace safely. Voss drove like a madman. County Road 9, the same road where he'd killed David and 6 others, speeding through the blizzard, took the curve at Devil's Bend too fast. Black ice, the Escalade slid, flipped, crashed through the same guardrail David had gone through, rolled down the embankment. When police reached the wreck, Voss was dead. "Poetic justice," the officer said later. Killed by the same method he'd used on his victims. Hospital. Fluorescent lights too bright, smell of antiseptic and floor cleaner. They stitched my shoulder, treated hypothermia, pumped me full of antibiotics. Tyler was in the next bay, face swollen like a purple melon, sedated. Martha arrived with Sarah, both crying, hugged me carefully around the bandages. "They tried to get me," Martha said. 2 men came to the house, but police were already there. Marcus called ahead. They arrested them. Relief hit me so hard I almost passed out again. "Tyler?" I asked the doctor. "He'll recover, physically anyway." Hank came in with Danny. Danny wore handcuffs, arrested but cooperating. His face was red, whether from crying or cold I couldn't tell. "I'm sorry," Danny said, "for everything. You stopped them, that counts." State Police Detective Hansen debriefed me. Older guy, 50s, looked competent. Took my statement, collected both wire recordings. "We've got it all," he said. "David's files, both your recordings, Danny's testimony, 26 confirmed deaths across 5 states, 8.7 million in fraudulent claims. Voss's network? 14 people involved, rounding them up now." He paused. "Tyler will be charged, accessory to 8 murders, fraud, but his testimony will help, and he did protect you at the end." "Can I see him?" Hansen nodded. Tyler was awake when I walked in, eyes swollen, almost shut, crying. I sat in the chair next to his bed. Long silence. Just the beep of monitors and wind against windows. "I'm sorry." His voice was thick. "I'm so goddamn sorry, Uncle Frank. I know. I was weak, scared, made terrible choices. Yes. Do you hate me?" I thought about it. Really thought. "No, I'm disappointed. Heartbroken. Angry. But I don't hate you. Your mother loved you. I love you. That doesn't change because you did wrong. I'm going to prison. Probably. I deserve it. Yes, but prison isn't the end. It's where you start paying back." I leaned forward. "Redemption is slow work, but it's work worth doing. Will you visit?" "Every month. I'll bring books. You'll need something to do." He broke down, full body sobs. I don't deserve your forgiveness. None of us deserve grace. That's why it's called grace. An officer appeared. Time's up. We need to transport him. I stood, put my hand on Tyler's head, blessing gesture, like Carol used to do for me. Find yourself again, son. The boy I knew is still in there somewhere. They wheeled him away. Waiting room, our strange little army. Frank, Martha, Hank, Sarah, Marcus, exhausted, battered, but alive. TV news played overhead. Breaking, multi-state insurance fraud ring busted, millions recovered. Reporter droned on about law enforcement cooperation, whistleblowers. They're not mentioning us, I said. That's intentional, Sarah replied, for your safety. Marcus, 14 arrests tonight. More coming. This is huge. Hank, Danny's cooperating. Might get reduced sentence. Sarah, I'll represent him pro bono. He made the right choice at the end. Martha, David's death means something now. How many lives did we save? I asked. By stopping this? Sarah checked her notes. They had 12 more targets identified, 12 men who won't die now. The weight of that settled over us. We did good, I said. We did, Martha agreed. 3 a.m., they discharged me. Arm in a sling, bruises everywhere, but alive. Blizzard had passed, sky clearing, stars visible for the first time in days. Martha drove me home. My truck was still at the elevator, they'd tow it later. House was quiet, dark, warm. I made coffee, 2 cups, Martha and me. We sat in silence. Carol's photo on the mantel watched over us. I think she'd be proud, I said. Don't you? David too. They'd be proud of both of us. We survived. We did more than survive. We fought back. We won. Window, dawn breaking, sun on snow, beautiful. My phone rang, unknown number. I tensed, PTSD already. Hello? Mr. Porter, Channel 7 News. We'd like to interview you about... I hung up. Martha. Media? Yeah. Well, what do we tell them? Nothing. We're not heroes. We're just people who did what needed doing. What now? I looked out at the fresh snow, clean, new, covering all the blood and pain with something pure. Now, we heal, we rebuild, we live. 3 months passed like seasons turning. February brought Tyler's arraignment. I sat in the courtroom, first row, where he could see me. He pleaded guilty to accessory to 8 counts of manslaughter, fraud, conspiracy. Judge asked if he understood the charges. Yes, ma'am. Tyler's voice was steady, different. I understand what I did. I'm ready to face it. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Prosecutor wanted 20 years. Sarah testified on Tyler's behalf, talked about his cooperation, the evidence he helped secure, how he'd protected me at the end. I testified too, told the judge about the boy Tyler used to be, about his mother, my sister, who'd wanted so much better for him, about redemption being slow work but work worth doing. Judge gave him 12 years, eligible for parole in 8. Tyler looked at me when they read the sentence, mouthed, "Thank you." I nodded. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, maybe never fully, but it was something, a start. Danny got 6 years. Hank sat in the gallery, face like stone, eyes wet. When they led Danny out, father and son locked eyes. Danny mouthed, "I love you, Dad." Hank broke down. My insurance case got dismissed. Signature proved forged. Sarah filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the victims' families. Voss's assets seized, frozen, distributed. March arrived with mud and thaw. First prison visit to Tyler. County facility, low security. We sat across from each other, glass between us, phones to our ears like we were making long-distance calls to each other. He looked thinner, hair cut short, eyes clearer than I'd seen in years. I brought books, Steinbeck, Hemingway, some of Carol's favorites. Starting GED classes, he told me. Counseling twice a week. Good. I'm remembering who I was, before all this. Keep remembering, that's the work. Uncle Frank, his voice cracked. Thank you for not giving up on me. Family doesn't give up, even when it's hard. We talked for the full hour, about nothing important, weather, books, the food. Terrible, he said. But underneath, we were rebuilding something, not trust, not yet, but maybe the foundation trust could grow on. Community shifted slowly, like ice melting. Dottie approached me at the diner one Tuesday morning, set down pie without being asked. I'm ashamed, she said. Should have believed you. You didn't know. Could have asked. Could have trusted 40 years of knowing you instead of 2 weeks of gossip. She squeezed my shoulder. Pies on the house, every Tuesday, for life. At church, Pastor Reynolds made a public apology during announcements. We failed one of our own. We owe Frank Porter our repentance. He looked right at me. In our gratitude, he saved lives when we wouldn't even believe him. The congregation applauded. I wanted to disappear into my pew, settled for nodding. Sheriff Mercer visited my house privately, stood on my porch, hat in hands. I was wrong, lazy, should have investigated properly. You were fooled. We all were. Doesn't excuse it. No, I agreed. But I forgive it. He shook my hand and left. Looked lighter somehow. Martha and I fell into a rhythm. Weekly dinners, taking turns cooking. She'd bring David's old photo albums. We'd reminisce about our spouses, the life before. It wasn't romantic, just companionship. Two people who'd been through hell together and came out the other side. Selling the house, she told me over pot roast one night. Too many memories. Where will you go? Colorado, near my granddaughter Emily. She's at college there. That's far. Will you visit? Count on it. April brought settlement checks, Voss's seized assets distributed to victims. I got $47,000, restitution for the forged insurance, legal fees, pain and suffering. Put $10,000 toward Emily's college fund. David's legacy, I told Martha. A good man deserved to be remembered. Rest went to savings and house repairs. The porch had been sagging for years. Fixed it, painted the shutters, made the place look alive again. Sarah organized a celebration dinner at her apartment in the city. Our whole team, me, Martha, Hank, Sarah, Marcus. Marcus raised his glass. To the unlikeliest team. We toasted, laughed, some tears. We were just people doing what's right, I said. No, Sarah's voice was firm. You were heroes. Own it. Hank and I went fishing one Saturday. Old spot by the lake, ice breaking up, water dark and cold, long, comfortable silence. Poles in the water, not catching anything, not caring. Danny writes me every week, Hank said finally. That's good. Says he's learning to live with what he did, making amends where he can. That's all any of us can do? Selling the garage? Retiring? What'll you do? Don't know. Hank reeled in his line, cast again. But I'm done fixing other people's mistakes, including my own. We're getting old. We've been old, now we're getting wise. May arrived with warmth and Green returning. I went to a used car lot. Honest dealer this time. Sarah had vetted them. Looked at trucks, modest, functional, no surprises. What are you looking for? The salesman asked. Something simple, reliable, no ghosts. Bought an older Ford F-150, clean title, fair price, paid cash from the settlement. Before driving off, I hung Carol's rosary from the rearview mirror. Smell, clean interior, no history, no death. Radio found an oldies station. Here Comes the Sun was playing. I drove through town. Past the church, waved to the building, past the diner. Dottie saw me through the window, waved back. Past Morrison's garage, sold sign up. Hank outside loading boxes gave me a thumbs up. Out onto county roads, snow gone completely, green everywhere. Farmers in fields, planting season. Destination, Martha's house. Helping her pack for the move. Envelope on the passenger seat. College fund check. Note for Emily inside. In memory of David Henley, a good man who stood for truth. Red light. I caught my reflection in the mirror. Older, worn, gray hair thinner than it used to be, lines deeper, but eyes clear. Realized I wasn't lonely anymore. Not because the loneliness was gone. Carol's absence still ached, probably always would, but because purpose had returned. Connection restored. Light turned green. I drove forward. 6 months later, October, I sat on my porch in the rocking chair Carol and I bought at an estate sale 20 years back. Autumn afternoon, leaves turning gold and red, cool air that smelled like wood smoke and apples. Radio played low. Cardinals game, bottom of the 8th. Apple cider on the rail, still steaming. Mail truck pulled up. I waved to the carrier, young woman, new on my old route. Letter from Tyler. I opened it there in the fading light. His handwriting was neater now, told me about his classes, books he was reading, counseling sessions that were helping. Another apology. He'd probably apologize for years. Then something new. Hope. Talking about what he'd do when he got out. Making plans to be better. I folded it, placed it in Carol's old recipe box where I kept all his letters now. Phone rang. Sarah, checking in like she did every few weeks. Legal case is closed, she said. All families compensated. Your testimony helped. How are you, Frank? I looked around. Porch, yard, trees, quiet street. I'm good, really good. After the call, I sat in the silence. My truck in the driveway, Ford, worn but honest. Carol's rosary visible through the windshield. I pulled her photo from my shirt pocket, carried it everywhere now. We did it, darling, I said to her smile. Saved some lives, made a difference. Tyler's got a long road, but he's walking it. Martha's happy in Colorado. Hank's at peace. Danny's trying. I'm not alone anymore. Still miss you every day, but I'm living like I promised. Ito. Wind chimes sang. Carol's wind chimes, still hanging where she'd placed them years ago. The sound was gentle, musical, like an answer. I smiled, stood, stretched. Old bones, but strong enough. Went inside to start dinner. Cooking for two, Hank was coming over. Sunday tradition now. Through the kitchen window, the porch was visible. Empty rocking chair still moving slightly from where I'd been. Wind chimes singing in the breeze. Light fading to dusk, beautiful and soft. In memory of those who stand for truth, even when it costs everything.